Welcome back to SME Zone. Before the break, we took a turn to Soweto and introduced you to 1852 Print Shop. Joining us in studio are the brains behind the business. Mfana and Tunzi. Welcome, guys, to SME Zone.
Thank you. Thanks.
Now, guys, could you just give us a brief background? I mean, we've seen the insert in the work that you do, but just 1852, where did it all start?
Okay. 1852 to begin with, it's an area code of where our business is situated. Okay. Our business is in Middlelands, popularly known as Indofire. So 1852 becomes the area code. So when we thought about a name, for our business, we thought let's use a name that resonates with the area in which we operate. So in Kasilingo, people would say, they use those area codes to identify with one another. So we thought 1852 would then be the appropriate name instead of saying, your Middlelands print shop or your Indofire print shop. So we thought 1852 would be appropriate. So that's where it started. But we started with an idea, around 2012. But it's only, in 2014, early 2014 this year, where we started to, establish the shop and open up the shop so that, our customers would have a base in which they can find us, that's where it started.
Talking about that shop, I mean, we've all just seen it now. That shop looks absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
What was the idea of having such a high-class, high-end shop in the township, and what effects does it have on your customers?
Yeah, well, the advantage that we had is that it's our business. It's funded by ourselves. There's no government funding or anyone assisting you. So we had the freedom to play around with whatever ideas that we had. I mean, when you get into the shop, you see, the wallpaper, the graffiti style, and so on. We thought, let's, get into a free space and do whatever that we wanted to do. But most importantly, show the creative side around the business. To say, much as we are a print shop, it's an ideas business. We generate ideas. I mean, we design stuff there. So, as you get in, you have to see, the creative side coming through.
I think another thing, we really needed to create something that was really going to speak to the community at large. Because actually, growing up, especially in a township. In a township, yes. Basically, the things that we'd see, mostly in businesses, it's not well set up businesses and all that. So we figured that, look, in order for us to make this thing really grow and really go out there and really speak to the people, we really needed something that was going to be at a higher end and really talk to the people at large. Yes.
But I understand you guys were running your own businesses. You're running your own, he was running his own. Maybe do you want to quickly just tell us, how did you guys decide to come up to the decision of actually becoming one business? Okay.
Initially, how it started, Mfana actually came up with the print shop idea, which is the 1852. But as he was operating, we realized that actually there were certain things that were missing in the business itself. And that's when basically the partnership came about. Actually, I run a company called Kyla Inc. Marketing. And because actually when it comes to printing and marketing, we felt that actually there's a bit of a connection in between the two. Because usually when you do marketing, you'd find clients that need your branding, meaning namely T-shirts, billboards, and all that. So we really felt that how about if we form actually one thing, so that it becomes easier basically for everyone, even for our clients, that everything becomes under one roof.
You more become like a one-stop shop.
Yes, more like a one-stop shop. So we've also managed basically to bring in other businesses under 1852. Like Yoboa Soweto, which is a local newspaper, which does a distribution of about 15,000 copies actually on a weekly basis and all that. So it's more of a one-stop shop, basically, where you find everything. So it becomes easier. If you come to us basically for marketing, we are able to do your branding. If you need advertising, we are also able to include you in the community newspaper. We also have wall branding and other types of advertising. So basically, that's where the partnership really came about.
But I think most importantly was for us to be able to create a network. Because many a times we establish our own businesses, and at times they fail, not because the business idea isn't there or it's not a good business brand, but because if you're working in a silo, we are not able to tap into the other sector. So the idea was, let's create that network, let's do marketing, let's do branding, let's do publishing, and so on, and see where it leads us.
Now, gentlemen, you guys are quite established, but there is some advice that you need from the business guru. Sure. What is it?
I think for us, mainly it's about, getting, that advice that would say, how do we penetrate, the market, especially the mainstream. As we know, we in the township, we are, just under the radar. We haven't, penetrated. People are still not aware of the 1852 brand. So mostly for us is to say, how do we then penetrate the mainstream? But secondly, how do we then create a sustainable, a revenue base or clientele, if I may use that word.
Okay. For instance, maybe let me start by commanding you guys on the big business that you have. I mean, for instance, looking at the premises as well that you have, I mean, it's quite nice. From the graffiti perspective, I was struggling to figure that out in my head. Why would these guys struggle about marketing, for instance, Because, I mean, I would expect, from a graffiti perspective, obviously you guys are into branding. Yes. So you know that, for instance, out of sight, out of mind. Yes. It's funny how, as a lot of small businesses right now, we want to jump to getting big business into the bag, where else you don't know the amount of economy that runs through the township on its own. I'll make an example with small businesses. I mean, for instance, Soweto on its own. There's the Greater Soweto Business Chamber. I mean, they've got over how many thousands of SMEs within Soweto on its own. There's what we call the Soweto Business Hub as well. They've got their own database of small businesses within Soweto. For me, those are the first people that you guys need to target before you even going out. Because some of these organizations, I'll tell you now, they connected to big brands. Because I know a couple of big brands and parastatals that come to the township, host seminars, or even, for instance, finance some of these seminars on behalf of these organizations. Because obviously, the minute you service them, by the time they come through, it's easy for them to actually identify you as, for instance, a subject matter expert or a preferred supplier within Soweto small business, and they're able to say, you know what, can you guys do this for us or whatsoever. And for instance, I always say, once you've taken your brand out there within that space, it's easy for them to recognize you. Let me make an example with big FMCG companies. They create samples like you guys have created and for people to actually try out their sample work. But we small business, we don't want to sample our work. Let me take you, for instance, put this to you. You guys can go to a big parastatal or a big private company that wants to come target the township economy or the township business. You guys can sort of be the link between the two. And you guys can actually sample your work to them and say, no, don't worry about the graffiti aspect. We'll cover graffiti or we'll cover this and this and this on your behalf. And for instance, with that, once you've done that for them, tomorrow they cannot come and say, no, you didn't do this for us. You can even request a reference. Already with them, that's them getting exposed at your work. They can even say, no, you guys are better than some of the big agencies that we have. Yes, but they don't know that until you show them. So this is an opportunity for you to actually sample or show them your work. Yeah, that's true. And actually, you know what, I think it can really work out good for you guys.
Yeah, I think that's true. Well, typically, the challenges that we'd find among small businesses, like you mentioned sampling. Sampling for us becomes, somewhat of a financial burden to say instead of me investing on other things, it becomes, expensive for me to sample. So I think we have to invest, in that sampling. But lastly, you'd find an issue that says because we are not, fully established, you are not well known. People become skeptical in saying, can we work with 1852? Can they deliver and so on? Hence, we bring these products. We say, they sort of like prove that we can deliver, and we then take it from there.
Yeah, I mean, for instance, you spoke of sustainability, and now you're mentioning the issue of trust. Obviously, once small businesses, are able to trust you, why as a big business can I trust you? True. And from the sustainability aspect of this is that you could go into sort of like retainer agreements with these contracts. Let's say, for instance, you go to a business, you say, okay, this is the package that we have, but because you are a small business, we can break it down for you. You've got a designer in-house, so it's not like it's something that you still need to outsource. Then you can render service, and they pay a minimal fee of whatsoever. It's either to as well host their website, design their website, do their social media, whatsoever. They don't pay, you pull the plug. Simple as that. So it's something that is able to get you sustainable. Because a big business will give you one big project, and if you can't handle it, then you'd rather have a lot of small businesses that are sustaining you on a month-to-month base. That builds financial record for you. That builds whatsoever. Should you want tomorrow a big business, they say, give us financials. You're able to show something that there's constant income that has been coming that is getting the business sustainable. People are able to trust you guys with big money. People are able to trust you with big project, because I think you would have proven yourself with that.
Sure.
Gentlemen, what's your take on the advice?
I think it's a worthy advice. It's a worthy advice. It's something that you can take back and look at how we implement it, especially the engagement with the other chambers around Soweto. I mean, we're just talking that there's about 10 or more billion circulating around Soweto, but the issue is that 10 billion comes in and goes out. So we're just saying, we want a hand in that 10 billion. But I think it's through those, networks with the chambers and the other sectors that we can tap into.
I think basically another thing with this, it does not only end with the print shop, because as you've seen, we're trying to create a movement out of 1852. So we're launching things like your biltong. We've got the clothing line. We've also got branded water, which is 1852 mineral water. And look, we're looking at really expanding the business and also launching actually other things. And right now we're involved with events that are happening around Midlands, because 1852 is the area code of Midlands. So we're really trying to get involved with a whole lot of things around the 1852 vicinity. So 1852, it really does not end here. There's still a lot beyond the print shop and whatever that we've really presented today.
But have you thought of you guys hosting your own events for that matter? The entry is you need to be wearing an 1852 brand. And it's something that obviously that would familiarize you not only to business but your normal consumer. And obviously on that, for instance, event, that's where you distribute, for instance, your merchandise or even water whatsoever. Last time Maponya Mall was celebrating 7 years. I mean, it was companies that were outside. You go the simple thing, guys, can I sponsor water for this event? I mean, for instance, those people carrying your bottle, they become your indirect brand ambassador. And with us, what we like doing, after you finish the water, you take it home, you put more water, you put it in the fridge. So the minute a person asks, what's this 1852? Automatically gives the person that the opportunity to sell your business. They become your indirect brand ambassador. 1852, it's a company, so and so whatsoever. It takes your weight out there.
Look, there are plans in place to really go through that route. Like currently now, with the biltong side of it, we're trying to launch it in different clubs. So whereby that if you go out at night, you'll be able to purchase your biltong at certain clubs and all that. Look, it's more of part of our long-term plans, and like we have started with the events. We're really looking at growing into that and probably launching an 1852 probably event for a day or something that's going to be hosted annually and all that, just to really get the brand out there.
But the starting point as well could be, the events that are around the area, like now the upcoming Fire Picnic, where we'll be part of the Fire Picnic, putting our brand out there and, displaying some of the items there. So we do find some of the events that we want to tap into so that people get familiar with the brand. And once we know that we've got that following, people are now familiar, we can then, I think go full steam.
Gentlemen, thank you so much. We have run out of time, but it's been an absolute pleasure talking about 1852, and we hope to see it beyond Soweto and everywhere else in South Africa.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Yes.
After the break, we are joined by Busi Radebe, an economist from Nedbank, here to unpack how this economy will affect your SME. Make sure not to miss this.